Hey guys, so tonight I am preparing some tofu and I thought that I might take a moment to share some tips for preparing tofu because I know that it's one of those things people either love or hate, and I know that a lot of people think they hate it, but I would contend that they probably haven't tried it prepared in a way that's more desirable. So I wanted to share with you like the three things that I think most people skip, or most mistakes people make when preparing tofu. And no, let me just have a couple disclaimers before I start this conversation. Number one, I know there's a lot of controversy about soy and its negative impacts on the body. I think those studies have been done on lots of soy. So if you have a heavy soy diet, so we're not talking like having tofu every day. We're talking about, hey, if you want to try like a meatless Monday and you want to try tofu, you're going to be okay. Now, the other thing about that is make sure that it is organic. So, you want to make sure that's organic, because now I would love to say I eat organic everything, but I don't, because I can't. I mean, like, it's too hard to shop that way. If you want to like go more into like the best things to purchase organic, there are there's a list. I think they call it like the Dirty Dozen. That's the most, the worst to buy non-organic. That's not this conversation, but soy is one of those things that you want to get organic because it is one of the most GMO, genetically modified foods in the country, or around in the world. So make sure that you do get organic if you are going to use soy. Like I said, you have to make decisions based on your budget. You can't do organic everything. You do what you can, all right? But listen to this: tofu is extremely inexpensive. So it's even less expensive than chicken by the pound, and it has a ton of protein. So chicken seems to be like the a most inexpensive protein, but tofu is even less expensive. And if you're eating organic chicken, which I hope you are if you're eating meat, because meat's one of those too that you kind of prefer to have. I mean, I don't eat meat, but if I did, I'd want to make sure that it was organic. Organic chicken, organic meat is like double the price of. So tofu is a really affordable option. Hi, Mom. My mom's on my live feed today. She never served us tofu, but do you know what since you're here, Mom, she made me eat liver. It was the worst. Side note, man. I haven't made my child eat tofu yet, but I might, so I'm not gonna judge her. Okay, so those are my little side notes about tofu. Organic, it's a really affordable option if you're trying to watch your budget, which many of us are. So, three things. The first thing that people do, I think, the mistake they make is not buying the right kind of tofu for what they're trying to do. And most people I know are trying to use it in place of a meat. So you want it to be extra firm. If you're trying to replace, if you're like a real meat eater and you want it to have that firm texture, Brittany, just wait. Just wait. I'm gonna make a believer out of you. Tofu has no flavor, but it's the texture that is most people's problem, and that's what I'm gonna talk to you about. These three tips are all gonna talk about how to make it the texture that's desirable. So the first one is if you're trying to use it to saute or grill, in place of a meat item, then you want to get extra firm. Number two, and this is what I missed for a long time, and most people do. And that is pressing it. You've really gotta, the liver. Oh, you like tofu? Good. Yes, the liver is disgusting. My mom is so cruel. So rude. So, I got a tofu press. You really don't need a tofu press. I used heavy books and cans for a long time. But this was 20 bucks. So, I mean, all the money I'm saving on meat, by, buying cost-efficient tofu, I'm putting into a tofu press. So this is 20 bucks, but you can legitimately. I had a plate here. I put my block of tofu here, and and you put paper towels if you can too, because there's a lot of moisture in these. So you'll see even that if you look at this, and this one's already been pressed once, so there's a lot of water content in tofu. So I used to just take a plate and stack books on top of it, 2 plates, and I'd stack books or cans on it and let them sit there for up to an hour to get as much moisture out of it. So if you just cut up tofu and try to saute it, it is going to be crumbly, messy, and soft, and just not a pleasant experience. And obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, maybe you don't know this, we want to marinate our tofu. We want to give it flavor. It's virtually tasteless, but if we have it pressed with enough water out, then we can put it in some kind of marinade and let it absorb that flavor for a matter of time, and then we can use it in the manner that we like. So I'll tell, before I go on to my third one, which I think is a really good one, that is to, I have two different ways that I love to make tofu. I mean, you can broil it, bake it, put it on a skewer, like a kebab. I stir fry it. Mostly, I love it stir fried, but you can do it like on a grill pan and get it nice, like a great little like slab on a panini. Okay, so my favorite way is like a curry, and I have a red curry paste and a green curry paste that I use, a couple tablespoons of this with a can of this. Coconut milk, so good. But I'll stir fry it and prepare it in a curry, or I'll just stir fry it with veggies. And so my second recipe is literally, it's like 3 ingredients really. Bragg's amino acids or soy sauce, but I use Bragg's aminos, a little brown mustard, and some brown sugar, a little brown sugar, and then I'll do some garlic, salt, and pepper. Well, no salt because the soy sauce has plenty. So you just put that in like a Ziploc bag, and that's one of my favorite flavors to go with tofu. So good. I will say it still has a high water content even after you've pressed it. So don't use, I would say don't use an oil in your marinade. So I prefer not to use a marinade that has oil in it because water and oil don't mix, and so it's hard for the tofu to soak up the flavor if there's oil in the marinade. Use your oil to stir fry. You can use it in preparation, but as far as the marinade, oil's not the best, something that has oil in it isn't the best marinade. I mean, I've used it in the past, but the flavors soak in better without. Okay, so I pressed this one already, and let me tell you my third tip, and here's what most people don't do. And I didn't do it for the longest time. I've only recently started doing this because I was still not getting the texture that I would get at restaurants. So I thought the texture was fine. I was pressing my tofu. I don't mind it. I think it's still maybe not super meat-like, but I don't like meat, so I don't care personally, but it still has, it's a firm texture, more firm than just slicing it up and cooking it. So here's might be new to you, and that is freezing your tofu. So let me tell you why this works. I actually pressed this, I freezed it, no, I froze it, and then I thawed it, and it still had enough water in it that I could press it again. So the reason freezing it makes a big difference is because when it freezes, it's a spongy object. So when it freezes, those like little crystals, water expands. So as it has those little crystals expand, creating a little more pockets, a more spongier product. And so as it, then it falls, and then you have a more porous, more spongy product that's denser and chewier and firmer. And then you can squeeze any more water out, but you're gonna get more moisture out of it if you freeze it. And then marinate it, and then do your thing. So that's my main tips on tofu. Does anybody have any questions? There's a few people on while I'm here. Any questions? Anybody have a recipe that they love? Do we have tofu fans, or do you hate tofu? Are you give a thumbs up, or are you throwing thumbs down for tofu, or are you gonna give it a try? Let me know. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them below. Do you reheat it? I don't know that I ever have. I don't see why not. Just like, you could reheat meat. I don't see why not. But that's a good question. I'm glad it was helpful. So if you think this would be worth sharing, or save it to your timeline, share on your timeline. And if you have any questions, drop them below, and thanks for watching.